Da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Oh, you guys switch places because I clicked the buttons in a different order. So now you're in a different place on my screen now.
That's all right.
That's fine.
Hey, well, welcome to the People Community event. Thank you for joining us this evening. I have the lovely and talented Rochelle Prosser with us today from Orchid. Oh my goodness. She is doing all kinds of things to help people with their cancer journey, with also helping them understand the payment structure and things like you don't need to be strapped, but we'll get into it all. We'll get into it all. I'm going to let them do a proper introduction. Jason Wilson, my buddy. Oh,
Yes.
man. We go, good grief. We go back a ways, you know.
Yeah.
And Jason, Circle of Friends, the Freedom Fight Expo, which we're here to talk about both of those things and how amazing it is to see both of you thrive, both of you here today. You guys look fantastic. I feel a little under, like, I feel like I just quite, I'm going to get Jody to bring me like a button down or something and do a quick change. I feel like you guys look fantastic. You look fantastic.
Well, so do you, man. I mean,
So do you. I mean, listen, I just cover the gray up. You know, it's not good.
All mine's like right here. So people are like, what? It's like, you know. So guys in the house, give it up for Rochelle Prosser and Jason Wilson.
Oh, wow.
This is how we do it, Rochelle. This is how we do it here. Oh my goodness.
Love it.
Without further ado, you know what? Tell the audience a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing.
So, hello, nice to meet you all, everyone. I'm Rochelle Prosser from Orchid Healthcare Solutions. I'm a 30-year critical care neurotrauma ICU nurse, and my husband and daughter were diagnosed with cancer at the same time. And my daughter was diagnosed with an incurable, very rare brain cancer. And it took 10 years to find something that would make her survive and actually become a cancer thriver. So her life date was April 18th of this very year. She's 14 and doing just fine. So out of going through all of that and being that healthcare provider and then a mom, a wife, but also a caregiver, it behooved me to do better. The healthcare system is not great for everybody. And even I struggled to find a solution. And then I also realized that I had mental health issues dealing with this as well. And when you're a healthcare provider and a parent, sometimes the only thing that you're thinking about is my loved one going to survive? And so even just saying, what is it that I could do better to navigate the healthcare system? In oncology, you may as well make origami because it is really difficult to navigate, even with the best of intentions. And so that's how Orchid Healthcare Solutions bore out. I needed an answer to my daughter's diagnosis where there wasn't one, and trying to get to that answer. I don't know about you, clinicaltrials.gov hurt my head. So I could just imagine the regular person that has to go out there. And so I went out asking drug companies and anyone who would listen, give me these therapeutics. If you give them to me and tell me about them, tell me what their name are, I promise you, I will tell the world about it. And so that bore out the Prosser Oncological Therapeutic Library. It's a cancer treatment library that has every type of cancer therapeutic out there. So if you can't swallow a pill, we give you some type of chemotherapy or something else. If you're afraid of needles, we give you an immunotherapy or radiation or a particle. It uses science. It's based on science. Do I believe in adjunct therapy? Yes. There's a time and a place for everything. But when you are in the throes of cancer and you are stage 3, when you are stage 4 metastatic disease, that's where you need to come and see me, because your options are slim. And you need to know what's out there, and you need to find a way to get around your zip code. You need to find a way to get around the local hospital formulary. So that's what I do. I help people navigate in oncology their care.
That's fantastic. And that's such a great, I'm so glad that your daughter is doing so much better, and such an incredible story. Um, Jason, you've got an incredible story too. I would love for you to tell people a little bit more about who you are and why this is important to you.
Thank you so much, Jason, for having me on the show. I'm so glad to be with you and Rochelle on the same show. I mean, this is awesome. I actually met Rochelle back in March, actually a little bit before March. We were in the middle of planning the Freedom Fight Expo. And so she was a guest speaker on our March edition, did an awesome job. And after that, she was like, Jason, why don't we do an event for cancer? I think that would be a good idea. I said, you know what, Rochelle? Awesome. Let's do it. So here we are. I took a couple of months off to plan things for this event, and I think it was a great decision, because now we have sponsors that are supporting us. You're supporting us, Jason, the Hounds of Business, Mike Asherbranner, and everybody at the Hounds. I couldn't be happier about the way things are shaping up for this event, and I mean, it's just been great. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's been awesome. So Circle of Friends Club, we are a compassionate support. And I say compassionate, Jason, because I've been able to empathize on a level that a lot of people can't. I've had experience with cancer myself. My great grandma died of pancreatic cancer. My ex-wife died of cancer as well. She had breast cancer. And apart from that, my mom had bipolar depression for a lot of years. And my dad currently has Alzheimer's. So my mom actually died in 2014. And when she did, I said, there's no way I can continue my professional career unless I do something to help people with mental health. So that's the whole motivation behind what I do with Circle of Friends Club and Freedom Fight Expo. But the expo is a monthly event that we hold where we feature 10 speakers over a weekend. So we have 5 speakers featured on Friday, another 5 on Saturday, and we have a prayer service on Sunday. So, we've gotten an overwhelming amount of support for this event, not just from the United States, but also from South America. So, I mean,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So,
Wonderful.
we're really proud of.
And this one is August 9th, 10th, and 11th, right?
That's correct.
Cool. And do you have a list of speakers already that you want to tell, or are you keeping that a secret?
Well, I'm keeping some of it a secret.
It's all right. It's okay. It's okay. I just thought I would ask, just to see.
Well, I'll give you a few. So, of course, Rochelle is one of our featured speakers. Dr. New is a featured.
Dr. New, and she's in the house too. I saw her in the comments. Yeah.
Yes. And Russ Hedge is a speaker this time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fabulous.
I have a conversation with Russ coming up. That guy is like, blah, 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 blah. He's just like, all right, I got you. I'm gonna keep up. So he and I are around the same age, but I feel like that guy's like running circles around me, man.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of energy. Yeah, it's incredible. And I love he is a person of faith. He is not ashamed at all to talk about it. He is very strong in his beliefs and who he is as a human being, and how that leads him and guides him in his decision-making dichotomy. And so that, to me, that says a lot about him as a human, and I love that. Jason, let's talk about why Freedom Fight Expo came about. I know you told a little bit of the story of why you're doing the oncology piece, but why Freedom Fight Expo? How did this? I know, and I'm hoping that part of this is going to lead into a story that I know that you've told before. So I'm going to be quiet and let's just see if it happens. If not, I'm going to pull it out of you. But I love how this came about from Circle of Friends, celebrating 13 years, people.
Yes.
13 years. Let's
Yes.
go. Like, good grief. That, like, okay, come on.
Yep.
I should have found a different one for that one, man. Like, I should have found a different one to like scream that. That's like fantastic. But how did Freedom Fight Expo and the name and the whole thing come out of that?
Well, first of all, the whole 13-year period from the time that I had the idea about Circle of Friends Club until now, my message this week to everybody, just because whatever idea or maybe a business that you've started hasn't manifested yet, it doesn't mean that it's over, that God is still in the midst of your plans. It may take a little bit longer than you expected,
Mhm.
but he's going to do it. He's going to make it happen for you. So Freedom Fight Expo actually came to me as an idea from God back in 2023, to be exact. And at the time, I was on a fast, and I was walking around a track close to my house. And I said, Lord, I have an idea for an event, but I need a name for it. And it's actually an expo that I want to do in Atlanta. So give me a name for this. And he said, Freedom Fight. I said, okay, great. And so that goes back to my whole idea and belief on where mental health issues come from and why it is that people find it so hard to overcome these issues. It's a spiritual battle, not just a physical one. So that's where the whole freedom fight idea comes from, and it's something that I truly believe in, and why I became a spiritual dream coach as well. The thing is about spiritual dreams is that your soul or your spirit actually leaves your body every single night and goes to the spiritual dimension. And God speaks to us in that dimension to give us warnings, witty inventions, concepts, ideas, um, and just some advice on what it is that you're experiencing at the particular time of your life when you're having that dream. So you can get a lot of insight and direction and guidance from your dreams, which is why I do
Wow,
what I do.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, so the Freedom Fight Expo actually was going to take place in Atlanta in 2025. And this past December, the Lord was like, okay, Jason, do not wait until 2025 to make this happen. And I said, okay, what would you have me do? And he said, do it online because you have no restrictions to who can participate. I said, yeah, that's a great idea. So I began to
Yeah,
talk to Kelly Steinica and a few other people about what they thought about the idea. And they said, Jason, whatever you need, any support at all, anything that I can do to help you, I'll help you. So
yeah.
here we are.
We've had Sarah O'Brien, Kelly Steinica, and you on here talking about Freedom Fight Expo. Some great conversations and some conversations where we were missing you, but we had some great conversations. And I love that. And I know, Rochelle, you have talked before. You and I have talked about it, and then I've heard you speak on other people's shows where you're talking about how important mental health and wellness is
Mhm.
as a whole person, and you going through the things that you've gone through and with your own family, and you talked about this a little bit in your intro, but you know obviously, what are the things that you learned in your own journey, and how has that affected what you're doing now?
Mhm. Well, my journey was actually 15 years long when you look at with my spouse being diagnosed way back in 2008. And then after his survival, having a child, and our third child, now at the age of 4, is diagnosed 5 years later. And now both of them are going through this journey at the same time. And I was still working, I was still at the bedside. I had to retransform and reconfigure what my career trajectory was supposed to be. Whatever I thought I was going to do as a young mother completely blew up. And so I had to continue to be that breadwinner, because even though my husband still continued to provide, I had to be there, that strength and that pillar for him, just in case, be that insurance policy. And so at the time when you're going through it, you know, some people will say, I ain't got no time for this. I don't have time to read this. I don't have time to sit here and think about what my own personality and thoughts are going through this. But man, when these drugs hit your family member and they become the sixth or seventh sides of Sybil, you're sitting there going, I didn't sign up for this. Hold on, hold up, wait a minute. Just a minute here. What is really going on? And is this really where I want to be? And then you have to realize, this is what those words meant for in sickness and in health, richer and poorer, until death do you part, even though you might want to do it yourself for them. But, you know, honestly, you have to sit there and remember, what was the reason that brought you into this marriage, into this relationship in the first place? And then if you're adding in that you're a care provider, a healthcare professional on top of that, going through all of that, and then you have to go out there and give care, you know, you need to get yourself right. You really need to look into yourself and get yourself right. And that's where we are today. If you look at what happened with COVID, a lot of healthcare providers had to get themselves right, and there wasn't anywhere for them to go. Yeah. And so I realized during that time, I didn't have anywhere to go, but I didn't have even time to dwell on it. So it became the other cancer moms, it became those other cancer parents, it became those other cancer spouses that I went to, and we talked through things when it became unbearable, when it became too hard. And knowing that they're also going through it as well, you create this community. God knows I didn't want to be part of it. And when someone said to me, you know, Gilda's Club is a great choice to go to, I think you need to go visit them. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And it's like, yeah, no, be there at 6:30. We'll see you there. And from that day to today, it's 10 years that I have been a member and an active participant. And I am extraordinarily grateful, because any city that I happened to go to, and truly I did, I felt like Johnny Cash. I've been everywhere, man. Up to 72, 71, just 95, 40, 20, you name a highway. If there's a children's hospital on it, I was there. But what met me there, and who met me there, were the members, the parents, the support workers of Gilda's Club. You know, you meet people along the way and you think that, oh man, these things are too good to be true. St. Jude is not one of them. They really do what they say they're going to do. And everything you see on that TV, they mean it, they do it. My daughter is a survivor from St. Jude. I'm not being unabashed. I am saying this specifically because I live in Florida. So for me, it took a lot to have to leave my state and leave my family, or bring my children and leave my husband while he was still in cancer treatment behind, knowing that one of these two people I may never see again, or maybe both of them will never see each other again. But I had to go. And people out there are making hard choices for their families, and knowing that you're creating a situation that you're going to pay the price ultimately for your in mental health, in terms of trauma, on the ones that you love the most, that you're responsible to take care of the most. I don't know about you, but that puts a person in a whole different headspace. And you need to understand that it wrecks marriages, it wrecks relationships with your children, it wrecks relationships with employment, it wrecks relationships with your friends and communities. we hope that when going out and traveling, I call it cancer travel tourism, there's a hope that when you get there, that when you come back, everything is together and your community supports you. Most of the times it's like that. But what if you're alone on that journey and there's no family there? You don't have anyone to support you, or you're incarcerated, or some other situation that makes you alone in that journey. It's even harder to survive. So, this is why it is so important. Why I speak on it, because these issues came up for me, and knowing that, but for someone speaking up and saying, you need to take care of yourself, I probably never would have addressed that. So it was very interesting because Mike Ashburner introduced me to Jason, and he said, you know what, you two have a story and you should talk to each other. And when he approached me initially to talk about oncology and say he wanted me to talk about mental health, and I'm like, yo, I'm not the right one. I am not the right one. You got the wrong one, Jack. No, this is not me. And he's like, Rochelle, come on, you can do this. And I'm like, no, it's tough. It's tough because I'm talking from a perspective of health as a healthcare provider, and I have been on the reciprocate end of hearing this treatment is not for you. No, you cannot have it. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. And a lot of times when people hear those no's, they want to change providers and go and do something else. And I understand that we all deserve a second, third opinion. But sometimes that no is because what you're about to propose or you're asking that provider is going to hurt you. And they don't want you to see you hurt in treatment. But all we, as that on the receiving end of that no, is I don't get what I want here. And if I can't access what I want or need, my family member or even my person can expire. And so that's a hard place to be in, or between a rock and a hard place where you just don't have an answer. And that also causes that mental health. And so in hearing Jason's story, I said, okay, you know what? Maybe somebody can learn something from this. I don't know. And he had some amazing speakers on there. And I'm saying my story, and all of a sudden I see Ollie doing cartwheels on the webinar. Cartwheels, that's what I was doing. And I'm like, okay, I think I touched something here.
Yeah.
But we have many different circumstances in what we're doing. But at the end of the day, cancer is an equal opportunity offender. I think it's the most equal opportunity offender in everybody. It doesn't care where you are, where you live, how much money you have, what political party. It doesn't matter. And if that can be a unifying message to say we all deserve care, even even as our worst, the worstest part of ourselves, I had to go Jamaican there, the worstest part of ourselves deserves grace. And so if that is a message that I can at least give to people out there, then I've done my job. So Jason, thank you for your grace. Jason, thank you for your grace to have me here. And I hope that it's a message of hope. Not every story ends in beauty, but the beauty is in the journey itself. And if we can remember that, then we can love and find joy.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
that's just a preview, Jason.
I mean, this is like a master class, and like, oh my goodness, holy mackerel. Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard her speak before, so it's not. It's just, but it's still, it's powerful. It's very powerful, and that's the thing. I know, and she's gonna kill me. Because she's in the audience listening, but I mean, Jody's had a lot of illnesses and a lot of things go on in the 25 years. It'll be 25 years this October. And in that time period,
Yay!
we've gone through that's 25 years that she's put up with me. I should say that. I should say it exactly like that. And I will say that I remember us going through the clinical trials and the drug. There was a chance that you would take this drug and it'd be the placebo. There was a very good chance that you wouldn't be getting the actual medicine, you'd be getting something else.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I'm like knuckle praying during this time period. I got the prayer warriors, we were like kicking in. And these pills, you had to take them, and she's going to probably correct me, but you had to take 1 or 2 a day, and they were $30,000 a pill.
Yeah.
$30,000
Mm-hmm.
a pill, and you had to take them twice a day, I believe. I was in the morning and at night. And I'm just sitting here going, well, I'm just like, I don't know, like, who do I rob? Like, I don't even know, like, how do I'm like, I got to make this happen for my wife, but like, how do I even do this?
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been there.
We got in, we got turned down and turned down and turned down, and finally, in like the 11th hour kind of thing, she was not healthy enough to go on the liver transplant list. And all of a sudden, she gets this notice, and somehow she gets in. And she does not get the placebo. She gets the actual medicine. And this has been cleared ever since. And I'm sitting here listening to the stories, and I'm going, I have experienced this with my wife and watched these same things happen where I knew there's no way I can afford 1 pill, much less 2 a day at $30,000 a pill. Like, who in the world? Like, why does it even cost that much? I don't even understand that. I can't wrap my head around the pharmacology of how, Dr. New, you're in the audience, say something. I don't even understand like how that's even freaking possible. But here we are, and they're telling us this, and I'm just like, I'm white. Well, I am white. I know it is.
I'm sorry.
In case you didn't see how pale I am, like, it's literally like, it's embarrassing. But I was even more pale. I was translucent at that point. Then that's what we're. Oh my goodness. But no, I mean, it is incredible when we hear these stories, and I know that, it's a God thing. For me, as a person of faith, I know that God interceded. There was no reason. She'd already been denied. We'd heard all the things. Her liver's too damaged to do this, but she's not bad. It's like all these things. And I'm sitting here going, well, wait a minute. We don't qualify for this, but we don't qualify for that. And you can't get this. You can't do that. And then it happens.
Yep.
And that's the power. That's the power. And that's how good God is and how great his perfect plan is, because it wasn't in our timing. It was, are you going to believe in me, or are you going to have faith? Because that's, I think, the hardest thing is when we're in the midst of it. And even when it doesn't work the way we think it's supposed to, when someone passes, and that ends up being God's will, that's the way that this is going to go. Us being able to accept that will and that course for our lives and our families' lives, that's difficult. It's hard to make that be part of the conversation and part of what we talk about. And that affects our mental well-being. And I know it affected Jody's well-being during that time period. And I'm actually surprised I remember it, because the way I compartmentalize this old hockey brain, I compartmentalize stuff and I push out all the bad stuff, and I remember the good stuff. So I just remember how excited we were when we were able to get into the trial,
Mhm.
which we technically weren't all, qualified to do, but we managed to do it. So,
That is,
and that's the grace of God.
It
So
is.
it
I,
is absolutely.
you know, I would love, as we pass the 30-minute mark, I want to give you guys any opportunity to tell any other pieces of your stories, your hope for the Freedom Fight Festival, anything about the battle with oncology and with um, mental well-being, because it is a pandemic right now going on. I think since the pandemic, there's been this wave of awareness, and people are just like, first it was I don't know what to do, because everybody lost their jobs all at the same time, and everybody was quarantined home, and you saw people that were just falling apart, and then people that were having babies. It's like all of these COVID babies, and then as we start to work our way out of it, then people were like, I'm this is really affecting me. And
Mhm.
so I want to open up the conversation during this last part for you both. And we'll start with you, Rochelle, but for you both to, make comments about, where you think we are as a state a state of the union of this country in well-being, and what you see and hope that the Freedom Fight Festival and the Circle of Friends and this conversation can help with moving the needle on things that you see.
Well, it's amazing with our children. They are so resilient in many ways, especially when it comes to oncology children. They've been isolating from before they knew what normal is. And so as we do our rush to return to normal, we have those children that are graduating from elementary school and going into middle school, and then those that are in middle school and coming out into high school, and then those graduating in college, going off to college, and those graduating college, all at that same time period. It's like the youth of our nation was in a globe, in a vacuum of isolation and inability to foster proper social networks at a time when it was truly important and restorative for their brain health, and just for the relationships that we should have growing up as a child, as an adolescent, as a young adult. I mean, it is tough as it is, even under regular circumstances, to be a middle schooler and a high schooler, never mind putting on pandemic and everybody's isolating at home and on a computer. So the social isolation is profound, and it has affected our youth, the younger generation, in ways unimagined, from body dysmorphism, inability to have social and relational interactions and relationships, interruptions in how we understand that social fabric of just being around people. And you see this playing out every day in the public spheres, on social media, and in the way that we interact with each other, which is sad, because we could find common ground and commonness amongst each other before the pandemic. And now, as we emerge, having to focus solely on individualism, it's really hard to find our way back to that camaraderie, to that unifying voice. But let me tell you, oncology and cancer is a unifying cry. If it's not that grand equalizer, it will be that way very quickly. And so understanding that mental health is not something to be talked about in the margins. A lot of us, older generation, grew up that, okay, Uncle Jimmy, or there's something wrong with Aunt Mary, but we're going to leave them over here and not talk about it. It's come home to roost, because it's come home to roost with our children, and there's just not enough mental health and behavioral health support to go around. So it's gotten such a drumbeat, and I'm thankful that there are other entities that where parents have seen this and said, whether it's the military, whether it's the regular public, John Q. public, they've come in and said, we have to do something, and they've raised their hand to do something about it. And so I think the time is of the essence of now, and we certainly have the backing of now the insurance plans opening up and actually paying for these mental health issues that we are having as a generation. And I think it may take a few generations before we are ultimately okay. So there is a hope on the horizon that we are doing now and paying it forward now for our future. That's where I see it.
Wow. I love that. My wife happened to correct me and say it was 2 a day that she had to take of those pills. So I saw that in the comments. Thank you, Jody. And thank you, Dr. New. I know that you were there. So I that's why I called you out. That's why I called you out, Dr. New. I wanted to make sure that, give us some of that pharmacology insights. And she did. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Jason, where do you see us now? Same question, and what do you hope that Circle of Friends and Freedom Fight Expo can help as far as moving the needle?
Well, when I started Circle of Friends, I had the idea that I wanted to expand the business that I had back then, which was a speed dating company down here in Colombia. But with the name of it, it was impossible. Speed dating in Colombia. How was I going to expand that to the United States? So God gave me the idea about Circle of Friends, and so the idea was to do events online, because I knew back then also was that not everybody would be able to go to the physical event, but they could attend it online. But I would like to do hybrid events in the future, starting next year. We'll do some events in the United States as well as online, and give people the choice of what they would like to do.
Mhm.
I know that Jody is going to go ahead
Can
and
you hear me?
vote for us going. Yeah, Jody's going to vote for us going to Colombia. So I'm just waiting for the comment. I'm waiting for the little. There it goes. There's the ticker. Where? Oh no.
There you go.
That's exactly what I said when he told me this story. That's exactly what I said. That's hilarious. I know Jody's going
Yeah,
to vote
I
for
mean,
us having, going there in person. So we would have a lot
yeah,
of fun,
yeah.
Jason. We would have a lot of fun. I would love that. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
need to do
yeah,
speed dating, but the hybrid event would be cool.
yeah. I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to doing that. But I wanted to be able to help people with the loneliness piece, as Rochelle mentioned. I mean, I think that's probably the thing that kills people the most is the
Mhm.
loneliness, and drives
Mhm.
people to suicide as well. And my main motivating factor with Circle of Friends Club and Freedom Fight Expo as well is to prevent suicide.
Mhm.
So with
That's awesome.
National Suicide Prevention Month, which is September, we're going to do another event for that. But
Mhm.
the theme will be PTSD, and we're not done with cancer,
No,
Rochelle.
we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yes, we have Breast Cancer Month, which is October. We're going to do an event for that, and
Mhm.
other events in the future as well.
Mhm.
Very good. Very good. Well,
Yeah.
I have been scrolling this entire time down at the bottom, the circleoffriendsclub.com, so that you see it. And just in case that you didn't know how to spell it or get it right, there it is. And you can also find Jason and Rochelle both on LinkedIn. If you go to either our YouTube site or our LinkedIn page, you will find in the comments of this event, you'll find ways to contact them and ways to be to sign up for this event. So please do that. If you are following us on our YouTube channel, which is growing, I really appreciate that. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for being part of what we're doing. And I know that we will have a ton of views for this over the course of the next few days. thank you so much for being part of this conversation, even if you couldn't make the original live. It means the world to all three of us and to this organization. So I know that it's very important, and I hope that you will come August 9th, 10th, and 11th to be part of the Freedom Fight Expo and see these wonderful people as they are speaking. There's some incredible people that Jason's lined up, including Rochelle in the house. So let's give it up one more time. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you very much to our audience, and thank you guys for being part of the show. This is our People Community event. This is all about what people are doing around the world to create change and do it in a positive way so that we can help you. Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time.